Now, final year students at the Kibi Senior High Technical School who owe school fees are forced to wait about 30 minutes before they are allowed to write the exams. While the headmaster of the school, Stephen Agla, has justified the action. He says it is the best way to clear the 48,000 cedi debt the students collectively owe. Kwetinati has been to the school and, well, he'll be joining me pretty shortly so we can have an interaction on this particular one. And it has, the questions on the minds of many is that why would anyone sack students who are writing exams just because they owe school fees? Well, Kwetinati has joined me now, and we can have that interaction in the studio. Kwete, this sounds like a deliberate attempt by schools to get students to fail. Is that the case?
Not necessarily from the point of view of the authorities. I think at a measure they are taking to clear their debts. And the Kibi Sectech, for instance, the students are owing 48,000 cedis. And according to the headmaster, there's a huge debt. And if they don't employ such a measure, it will be very difficult in reclaiming the monies from the student. Assuming they allowed the students to write the paper and they are gone, how do they take the money? Some of the students who do not do well obviously would not come for their results. Therefore, that money turns into a bad debt.
So what do the students say about these measures, these drastic measures? What are the students saying?
If you are in their shoes, obviously you will not be a happy person. Some of the students I spoke to, for instance, were unable to finish their papers because they were delayed. Some told me that they lost concentration when they went into the exams room. And for me, it's very demoralizing because this student has prepared, he has conditioned his mind. You put such pressure on his mind, he goes into the exams room. Obviously, you don't expect him to do well. And the school has a very high failure rate. Last year, for instance, you had over 300 students failing in maths, English, and science. It's quite worrying.
And the school thinks this approach, caning them and getting them out of the classrooms for about 30 minutes is the way to go.
The headmaster told me that it works. You sometimes get something from the student when you apply such approach. According to him, for want of a better expression, he says he detains them a little and it produces some results.
I see. Wow. I hope there's something we can do about that. But thank you very much, Kwete Nate, for that update. That was Kwete Nate with that update. Now, the long distance school children are trekking each day is forcing many of them at Dadieso in the Swama Dadieso district to drop out of school in pursuit of other ventures. Now, as the dropout rate increases, many of the classrooms in these schools are becoming empty. A report by Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin.
Many children in the district say their dream to be educated may not materialize because they have to trek for hours to school and back daily. The children spend averagely 4 hours walking to and from school, a situation that demoralizes them.
I
want to be a doctor in the future. I have to trek to school every day, and I always miss the first lessons in class.
They
tell me so many. Some even say they cross rivers before coming. So when it rains, they don't come at all. And then, because the place is too far, they walk from that place.
Currently, only 15 students occupy the standard 45 capacity classroom. Various interventions, including public education targeted especially at parents on the need to send their children to school, are ongoing. The most recent is the supply of bicycles by Ghana Bamboo Bikes together with local buying company Kwiapa Cocoa to alleviate the plight of the children. Executive Secretary of Kwiapa Cocoa Farmers Union, Apel Mensa Abrampa, says the gesture is meant to encourage the children to stay in school. 13 children who received the bicycles were taken through safety training to ensure they maximize the use of the bike.
On to some business now, and oil marketing companies are beginning to worry the continuing depreciation of the cedi will soon affect the supply of petroleum products to the market. Now, the chief executive of Star Oil Company Limited is actually predicting a shortage in the next few weeks. Vincent Kaleji says banks are increasingly reluctant to offer oil marketing companies credit for their operations.
Only 4 months into the year, and the cedi has already depreciated by about 15% against the US dollar. For just $1, one needs 3 Ghana cedis, 80 pesos. Oil marketing companies such as Star Oil say unless the cedi stabilizes, a shortage of petroleum products will be inevitable.
You're forgotten about the fallen standard of our currency. You see, even I am anticipating a shortage very soon because the banks are now feeling reluctant to give RCs. Why? Because of the foreign exchange. You see, very soon we'll be in trouble because of our weak currency. Experienced it before. It's better to have the things around us, and those who can afford it, than we don't have it, than to see our stations empty. Last year, somewhere, July, we saw our stations empty. So please. So
are you saying that you foresee a shortage, you know?
Yeah, in the near future, if the foreign exchange is nothing is done about it, because the cedi is getting weaker and weaker, while the dollar is getting stronger and stronger.
Although crude prices are falling, the Star Oil chief executive says oil marketing companies are not enjoying any windfall because of the weak cedi.
That is good for us that the prices have come down. Other than that, we might be paying more than what we are paying. It is good. If not because of our weak cedi currency, I think we could be paying lesser than what we are paying today. But you know, some time ago, the price was so high, but the government was still maintaining the price, listening to the cry of the ordinary people on the street. So now that the international crude is reduced, I think it's helping me and you to be in our cars now. Other than that, we could have packed our cars by now.
Meanwhile, Star Oil, which is one of the fast-growing indigenous oil marketing companies in the country, has commissioned a new ultra-modern complex as its corporate head office in Accra.
The Ghana Employers Association says the persistent fall in the value of the cedi will push most local companies out of business if not addressed promptly. Now, President of the association, Alex Frimpong, tells Joy Business the weakening cedi coupled with the energy crisis is making it too difficult and expensive.
The current situation where the cedi is depreciating is quite worrisome for businesses, because if you have to import from other sources abroad and it comes and the pricing changes, if you have to sell your products, if you have to procure certain technology, other goods and services, and by the time you assess the situation has changed, it really creates a lot of difficulties for businesses. We need to really expand our export base. We need to ensure that we do a lot of intra-Ghana business. We need to ensure that we procure a lot of our raw materials from Ghana. That will be the surest way that we can really generate the needed forex. But if this current situation continues, I'm afraid we will not be out of the woods yet.
We have made these proposals to government over and over, and we are not seeing any improvement. Now, from where you sit, the Ghana Employers Association, how are you pushing government to even ensure that these things are put in place so that the cedi is stabilized for your benefit?
Well, normally a lot of these proposals that we are discussing are not new. The issue has to do with how we are able to consistently sustain this type of strategy. The difficulty we have in this country is that we are not able to really sustain a lot of these measures to get a full benefit of what really the policy entails. So for the GEA, what we will call for is to ensure that there's stronger policy coherence, to ensure that we are able to really ensure that we are on the right track in ensuring that these policies are implemented to the fullest.
Okay, so we're taking a break here. We'll be back with some more.